नमो महद्भ्योस्तु नमः शिशुभ्यो नमो युवभ्यो नाम आवतुभ्यः ये ब्राह्मणागाम अवधूतलिंगास चरन्ति तेभ्यः शिवम् अस्तु राज्ञाम्. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the great personality, whether they walk on the earth's surface as children, young boys, Vadutas, or great Brahmanas, even if they are hidden under different guises. I offer my respects to all of them. I think we read this. By their mercy, may there be good fortune in the royal dynasty that are always offending them. So, kings can easily offend saintly personalities because they are very proud. But not all kings are like that. So, but he's saying like that because he being a king, he offended Jada Bharat. So he's saying like that. But there are many kings who were very proud and were tyrants. So, okay, so the next verse we'll read. I think we read this also. We'll read this verse. After receiving lessons from the great devotee Jada Bharat, King Rahugana of the state of Savira became completely aware of the constitutional position of the soul. So, this is the effect of hearing from great souls. One becomes detached from bodily conception of life. That's the advantage. And if you become detached from the bodily conception of life, then you can work for your actual welfare. But even before that, sometimes, even we are in bodily conception of life, we still do devotional service, right? We still engage in devotional service. We still chant Hare Krishna. And that will also bring us out of the bodily conception of life. And we hear from the great souls also. So, the great souls, by hearing the Vani of the great souls, then it makes us detached from material existence. That is one way to gauge how effective the the how pure the soul is, the one who is sharing that. But in their association, one loses taste for material sense gratification. In their association, one loses the desire, and one becomes detached from. So that is one measure of how empowered an acharya is, because that means you are advancing in bhakti. So, after receiving lessons from the great devotee Jada Bharat, King Rahugana of the state of Savira became completely aware of the constitutional position of the soul. And he also realized. So, another uh, effect of hearing from great souls is that the knowledge becomes like realization. So, knowledge is one thing, and then you don't get benefit of knowledge until you apply it in your life, right? So, you have to apply the knowledge in your life. Then you can derive real benefit. So he thus gave up the bodily conception completely. My dear king, whoever takes shelter of the servant of the Lord is certainly glorified, because he can without difficulty give up the bodily conception. So this is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. Okay, that's basically Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying one reason why Nityananda Prabhu broke the sannyas danda of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu into three parts is also the Acharyas say the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord. He does not belong to any varna and ashram. He is not a sannyasi, he is not a grihastha, which he himself says. So why does he have to carry a danda? So Nityananda Prabhu took the danda and broke it into three parts. Right? Amrendra Prabhu was discussing about this. What are the other reasons why Nityan Prabhu broke the danda of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Bec-
That he had taken sannyas in the Ekadandi sannyas, but actually actual sannyas is three dandi, dedicating your body, mind, words to Krishna.
yeah.
And then
So
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would dance, right? It would interfere. So he can raise both of his hands. He was talking about a boatman rowing the boat.
yeah, if he has danda, then how can he hold the hand of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? I think Nityan Prabhu, because if he had danda in his one hand, and then he is holding something, he cannot hold the hand of Nityananda Prabhu also. And yes, you are saying that he took Ekadanda sannyas because at that time that sampradaya was popular. Keshav Bharati, uh, that sampradaya was popular, so he took in that. But actually, he only gave the mantra first to Keshav Bharati, and then Keshav Bharati gave it back to him. So, so by the association of great souls, what is very difficult to give up becomes very easy. When we are, it's very difficult to give up the bodily conception of life, but if you are in the association of great souls, then it becomes easy. Like we say, right, that by remembering Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then difficult things become easy. And by forgetting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, easy things become difficult. So Krishna also says like that. So by remembering the devotees, by being in the association, being in the association of pure devotees is as good as being in Krishna's association. Because the pure devotee always is talking about Krishna. So it is sometimes described that being in the association of pure devotees is even more valuable. That's why all the devotees are asking, "Oh, please give me the association of your pure devotees." Prithu Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj is saying, "I want the association of Narad Muni." So this is in the association is the key to making spiritual advancement. Krishna has made it like that. So when we are in the association of great souls, then our inspiration, our detachment, everything grows. So that is what happened to King Rahugana. As stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22.54. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Koy. Lava Matra Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhi Hoy. It is a fact that if one takes shelter of a pure devotee, one attains all perfection, even if the association is a short one. Many disciples of Prabhupada met him only for just a few moments. Even Prabhupada, with his spiritual master, he had very brief association. Few times he met, but that association had a very deep impact on him. And he said, right from the first time I met him, I was thinking about him. I was happy to be defeated. So, it is a fact that if one takes shelter of a pure devotee, one attains all perfection, even if the association is a short one. Even one line they speak can change the whole. A sadhu is a pure devotee of the Lord. It has been our practical experience that the first instruction of our spiritual master infused us with Krishna consciousness so that now we are at least on the path of Krishna consciousness and can understand the philosophy. At least Prabhupada is saying, I am at least on the path and I can understand the philosophy. As a result, there are many devotees engaged in this Krishna consciousness movement. So devotee is like a is more than a touchstone, right? Gold is very valuable, but touchstone is more valuable than gold because touchstone, whatever it touches, become gold. So touchstone is valuable because it can convert many things to gold. But a devotee is like a touchstone because he touches somebody, and that person also becomes a touchstone. And then when that person touches some other people, they also become touchstones. Means they can also then transform the lives of other people. So, so because of Prabhupada's association with his spiritual master, he's saying, as a result, there are many devotees engaged in this Krishna consciousness movement. So this is the parampara. The whole world is revolving under the bodily conception. Therefore, there must be devotees all over the world to deliver people from the false bodily conception and fully engage them in Krishna consciousness. Because we have been in this material world and maintained this conception that I am this body for such a long time, it is very difficult to get out of this bodily conception. But if we remain in the association of those who are out of bodily conception, then we will also become like them. If we remain in the association of those who are under the bodily conception of life, then we will remain in the bodily conception of life. That's why most of the people in this world are under the bodily conception of life. And when you associate with them, they are decorating their body and all these things. They are trying to make them look nice, make themselves look nice, and this and that, beautify themselves, and so many. So by being in their association, and so we also get into that kind of consciousness. But if you're in the association, like Jada Bharat was completely out of the bodily conception of life. And so by his association, King Rahugana also became like that. And Srila Prabhupada was also like that. So so many of his disciples, they also came to that platform. So association, yeah,
And we have so many examples of Narad Muni traveling all over the world, meeting so many devotees. Haridas Thakur made that prostitute into a devotee.
yes, she was so beautiful, but she shaved up her hair. Can you imagine? It was her profession. Hair is considered to be one of the beautiful things in this world. Prabhupada says in Kali Yuga, if men will have long hair, then they will think themselves very beautiful. It's one of the symptoms of Kali Yuga. So, yeah, the Laksha Hira had beautiful hair and she shaved it up and distributed all her money. And she came and sat down. So, it's like an explosion happened in 3 days. Just 3 days. And not full 3 days also. Only at night she would come and hear. So maybe she was sitting whole night. So maybe about 8 hours, 10 hours, something. So about 20 hours, her whole life changed in 3 days. So yeah. So this is the power of the association of devotees. And of course, but Prabhupada also said that you have to keep hearing because we are conditioned. Sometimes the spark gets ignited so much that like in Bilvamangal Thakur, the spark got ignited very much, but then he forgot about it or he became swayed again. But again, then he came back on his track. So, so we have to keep hearing. Like every time we are reading Srila Prabhupada books, we are associating with him through his Vani. And the more of Prabhupada we have in our life, the more we will become purified. More of Prabhupada's association in the form of Vani. And Vapu is the deity form. So, okay. But Vani is also his lectures, his books, this is all his Vani. So, and that is why, many people who join ISKCON, they say, yes, they are so disciplined and they're so like, they've made this as their life, right? You won't find this kind of, it's very rare to find this kind of discipline, although anybody can have it. It's not like that. But the way Srila Prabhupada instituted and the morning program, and so many people from different backgrounds come and they take up this chanting of the holy name and their life transforms. So we have not been transformed, at least I can say, to a very large degree, but we have to stick to the path and we have to keep a desire so then it will work. Krishna is reciprocating with us by giving us different situations. And yesterday I was hearing a lecture by Keshav Maharaj, and somebody was asking him, how do we know that God is reciprocating with us in our life? We don't feel sometimes. So he said one time one person was going for a job interview. He was going for a job interview, and he was getting late, and he had to park his car. So he was not able to find a parking spot. So he was desperately praying to God. Oh God, God, please give me a parking spot. Please give me a parking spot. I have to go for this interview. I'll be getting late if I don't find a parking spot. Because in America, you can't just park anywhere. Your car, you get a ticket and more problems. So he was maybe in some garage or somewhere, and there was no parking spot, no parking spot. So then he was praying desperately to God, and then as he turned like a curve, then suddenly he found a spot. And when he found that spot, then he told God, don't worry, God. I already found a spot." So he was saying like that. So Krishna has reciprocated with him. He prayed, but he thinks that okay, he found it himself. He's not giving God the credit. He's thinking that yeah, I found it myself. So God, don't worry about it. I already found a spot. He was saying. So Krishna is reciprocating with us by giving us so many things, but we don't recognize it. We think we are doing it on our own, and I am doing it. It's like Prakrite Kriya Manani. Of course, that verse is about the modes of nature, but yeah, Krishna. There was another story like that, right? One man went to Balaji and he said, "Give me profit. If I make this much profit, then I will give you half of my profit. If I make this much profit in my business." Yeah, you want to say this too?
Yeah, I like this. He was applying for lottery, right? So it was a 2 million lottery or something. Yeah, if you give me 2 million lottery, I'll give you 1 million. I'll give you half. But he won like $1 million lottery. He won. So he said, "Oh Krishna, you already kept your share, so we are
I don't
good.
need to give you anything now
Yeah, I don't need to give you anything."
because you already kept. It was I was supposed to win 2 million, but you already kept 1 million. So yeah, so sometimes we try to cheat God by we think God will not know what is in our heart, and we try to cheat Him, but you cannot cheat God. So like that's the other story is there. That man went to the top of the mountain and he was saying about God. He was saying that how much is $1 billion to you?
Mm-hmm.
Then he said, it is only a cent. It is only a cent for me. Then he says, how much is millions of years for you? Then he said, it's only a little, just a moment for me. Then this man said to the God, oh God, can you please give me a cent? Because it's like, God said,
Just after a moment.
just wait a moment. God is always like more clever than us. He knows everything. We can fool everybody, but we can't fool God because God is right in our heart. So we have to be very sincere. And if you want to make progress in devotional service, we have to be sincere. We can't like just bypass some things and get around. We can fool people of this world, but we can't fool God. Okay, so that's what.
God gives us every what we need, not what we want. Like what is good for our bhakti. If we are a devotee, there's so many verses like, why would God give us poison? To keep asking for poison, and we think Krishna is not reciprocating. And if Krishna has given us the devotees, that's the highest thing, and given us his service, there's nothing beyond that. So his mercy is already there, and we have gotten the highest.
So now we have to become serious, sincere, and without ulterior motives. Life is short. If not now, then when? We can ask this question. If it is not now, then when? Because Maya will always make you, it will always say there is something like that Kailash, and Kailash was saying, later on, I will do this, later on, I will chant, later on, I will chant. And one after another, the situation in life comes, keeps coming, keeps coming. So if we, but Krishna says, no, no, you, while doing your duties, you have to remember me, you have to chant Hare Krishna. Ma manusmara yudhyacha. So we have our swadharma and our, like, in relation to the body, there is some dharma to our family. And then there is a dharma from the perspective of the soul, the real I, to the Supreme Lord. So, so we have to do the our swadharma, you can say, and our sanatan dharma, right? Jiva dharma, we can say something like that. So we have to do in such a way that it does not make us forget and take us away. Otherwise, it is loss. After millions of years, we have got this human life. So, okay.
Also, yesterday we were reading the seventh chapter verses where Krishna is saying, I'm the fire of digestion, I'm the intelligence of the intelligent, I'm the ability in man. I mean, these are, we can see how, I mean, we are even working and even able to get up from bed or even do our material work by the mercy of Krishna. How can we say we're not getting reciprocation from Krishna? We are totally dependent on Him like a baby dependent on the mother.
Yes.
So, being in the attitude of gratitude, we'll always remember Krishna and be grateful for what we have gotten.
Yeah, only thing is we have to change our desires. That's the only thing which Krishna does not control, is our desires. So my responsibility is to change my desires so that I become, like yesterday Keshav Maharaj was saying, right? We have to desire very intensely to become Krishna conscious and purify our consciousness. So we are offering our consciousness to Krishna at the end of the day. So we have to act in a way that it will become pleasing to Krishna. Whatever we offer to Krishna should be pleasing to Krishna. So our consciousness is what? His bhavagrahi. It tastes the bhav. Bhav means our, yeah, our attitude, our desire, and so our consciousness. So we have to offer everything with a pure consciousness to Krishna. So that is the, and yeah, sense gratification, desires for sense gratification means bad consciousness. So King Parikshit then told Shukdev Goswami, my dear Lord, O great devotee sage, you are omniscient. You have nicely described the position of the conditioned soul, who is compared to a merchant in the forest. From these instructions, intelligent man can understand that the senses of a person in the bodily conception are like rogues and thieves in that forest, and one's wife and children are like jackals and other ferocious animals. However, it is not very easy for the unintelligent to understand the purport of this story because it is difficult to extricate the exact meaning from the allegory. I therefore request your holiness to give the direct meaning. He says, yeah, I understood. Parikshit Maharaj is telling Shukdev Goswami, yes, only intelligent persons can understand this, but for unintelligent people, it is difficult to understand this merchant and the creeper and the birds and all these things he has given. So he says, directly give me the meaning of this story. Don't give analogies, just directly tell me. Directly tell not me, but for the unintelligent. So, so Parikshit Maharaj is aware that other people may not understand it.
Mm.
So he's asking for their clarification.
Same thing happened with Narad Muni and Prachini Bhariswat. He gave the allegory of
Yeah.
mm, the
Yeah,
the
Prachini Bari
nose.
said, I didn't understand. At the end, he said, I didn't understand. Here, Parikshit Maharaj did understand, but he's saying it is for the unintelligent who didn't understand the purport of the story. So, can you please directly tell what
Mhm.
it means?
Yeah, we had Prabhupada's purport, so he was explaining those jackals and who are they.
Yeah, it's not like directly there in the verse. Yeah.
Mhm.
Prabhupada was explaining what is the creeper, what is this, what is that. So, reading the purport, we may not understand. I mean, reading the translation. So, so Parikshit Maharaj is only hearing the translations, right? He's not hearing the purports. So, whatever Shukdev was saying. Okay. There are many stories and incidents in Srimad Bhagavatam that are described figuratively. Such allegorical descriptions may not be understood by unintelligent men, and therefore it is the duty of student to approach a bona fide spiritual master for the direct explanation. Okay. Sometimes analogies we don't, may not understand. Sometimes analogies are presented to make us understand. Okay, so now more heavy stuff. The material world is the great forest of enjoyment. It is heavy. Bhagavatam is heavy because our attachments are also deep. And Bhagavatam is trying to shake us up. Actually, we should read all these chapters again and again because this is what will shake us up from, and maybe one day it will sink in. Those who are very intelligent, they get it in one time, they get it. But when we are not so intelligent in Kali Yuga, we have to read again and again, again and again, again and again because we don't get it. Or we get the knowledge, but we are not able to apply the knowledge in our life. So we have to like read it again and again. So one day we'll be able to implement in our life. Those who are very intelligent, sharp, they get it and they make quick decisions. Like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Nityananda Prabhu came in his dream and told him, you go to Vrindavan, leave your house immediately and go to Vrindavan. Immediately he left. So Krishna is repeating, Manmana, think of me, become my devotee, surrender to me, like that. Many times in the Bhagavad Gita for our benefit because we don't get it. Or we get it partially. But it is good to read again and again because that will uh, make our inspiration strong to apply this knowledge in our life. Okay. The direct meaning of the forest of material existence is given in this chapter. Merchants sometimes enter the forest to collect many rare things and sell them at a good profit in the city. But the forest path is always bedecked with dangers. So we want to get cheap and sell at a high price, right? Then we can make profit. So the merchant enters the forest to get many things, rare things. And in the city, he wants to sell it to make some profit. When the pure soul wants to give up the Lord's service to enjoy the material world, Krishna certainly gives him a chance to enter the material world. As stated in Prema Vivarta, Krishna Bahir Mukha hoy Bhogavan Chakore. So Jagdananda Pandit has written Prema Vivarta. And he's saying, we have all come into this material world turning away from Krishna for the purpose of bhoga, enjoyment. Bhoga vancha, desiring. Like we have vancha kalpa tarupyasya. Vancha kalpa taru, desire trees. Right? This is the reason for the pure spirit soul falls down to the material world. Due to his activities under the influence of the three modes of material nature, the living entity takes different positions in different species. Sometimes he is a demigod in the heavenly planets, and sometimes a most insignificant creature in the lower planetary systems. In this regard, Srila Narottam Das Thakur says, Nana Yodi Sada Fire. The living entity passes through various species. Kardar ya bhakshana kore. He is obliged to eat and enjoy abominable things. So, as when we were in a pig body, we were eating stool. We were in a pig body. After so many, we were eating stool. So, Tara Janma Atha Pate Yai. In this way, his whole life is spoiled. Without the protection of an all merciful Vaishnava, the conditioned soul cannot get out of the clutches of Maya. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Manashashtani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. So, what does it mean? The protection of an all merciful Vaishnava means their instructions and to be in their association, physical association, and hear Krishna Katha like that. So that is protecting that will protect us because, of course, everybody has to do their own thing also. You may get all the good instructions, but everything is there, and we can also repeat to others those instructions. But how much we have internalized it and how much we apply it in our life is up to us. So Hiranyakashipu was also speaking Bhagavad Gita. In the seventh canto, if you see, oh my God, Hiranyakashipu is such a wise person. He is speaking such, but it was not. He did not believe in it. Maybe he did not believe in it, or the force of desire was so strong he was not able to apply it. So sometimes we believe in it, but we cannot apply it because the force of lust is so strong. So we cannot apply it. As Arjuna says, Athakena prayuktoyam papam chariti purusha anichanapi varshneya baladiva niyojita. You know it, but you can't apply it. You also accept that, yes, this is how it should be, this is how it should be, but you can't actually live it because the force of desire is very strong in the heart. The desire to enjoy material enjoyment is very strong. So after knowing also, so we have to pray to Krishna and for spiritual strength. Nityananda Prabhu, Balaram for spiritual strength, and the representatives of Lord Nityananda. Like it is said, if you are very afflicted by lust, you have to pray to Haridas Thakur. These are all the Vaishnavas. They are there. I mean, every soul. They are not Vishnu Tattva. They are, of course, is Brahma. He is also Jiva Tattva. But the Jiva is eternal. So just like as we can pray to Krishna, we can pray to all this. Raghunath Das Goswami, we can pray to the Shan Goswamis because they are all there. And like sometimes it was said that if you cannot control your anger, then you should pray to Narsinghadev and think of his anger. Because in presence of his anger, your anger is very tiny, little. So you'll forget. You think of the anger of Narsinghadev, how angry he was. And so, of course, we may become more angry. We may say, oh, Narsinghadev was so angry, I can at least become angry like that more. That's not the effect of thinking. But, yeah. So, without the protection of an all merciful Vaishnava, the conditioned soul cannot get out of the pleasures. So, the Vaishnava wants to give protection, but we should be ready to accept the guidance and the instruction also. It is not about just going and saying, I want your mercy, I want your mercy. Prabhupada says, what he said, my mercy is that I have given you my instructions. Now you have to follow them. Right? He said like that. It's like a man who has fallen into a well and he's shouting, help, 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 help. And somebody is throwing a rope and he's saying, outside the person is saying, you hold on to this rope, we'll pull you out. He says, no, 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 give me mercy. I want to hold on to this rope. Give me mercy. I want to hold on to this rope. So he can hold on to the rope. Right? Of course, that also requires mercy. It requires some strength. But we can do it, right? The chanting Hare Krishna has descended from Golok Vrindavan. Golokera Premdan Harinam Sankirtan. So now we have to chant. We have to move our tongue. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram. That much endeavor we have to do. We have to move our tongue and hear the sound with our ears. Even if that much we are not willing to do, then what can God do? He's that means you don't really want help. He's giving. He has come as the holy name. So at least that much you can do. And from that, everything will come about. If we do it not for the sake of doing it, but if you do it with attention and like that, then it'll work faster. So not ritualistically, but pronouncing every word nicely and hearing every word of the Mahamantra nicely. It is because our mind gets bored and we want to finish it as a task. So we want to finish it as a task. So we just want to move on to the next thing after the chanting. So I can say, oh, I got my rounds done. Today the check mark is done. No, that's not the way it has to be done. You have to think you should give yourself enough time, 2.5 hours, and there is no hurry. After every mantra, we should analyze, did I hear the mantra? Then what am I doing? I'm not going to get the effect, the desired effect, if I'm going to do it in a bad way. So we have to be patient. Like for everything else, we have so much patience, right? But when it comes to chanting the holy name, we somehow want to just rush through our rounds and finish it, or do more rounds because we want to tell others we did more rounds this much. No, that's not the way. We have to do with quality. So because you are dealing with Krishna here, so like that. So Prabhupada would say like that. When you chant, you hear. It is not a race against time. So you have to give yourself sufficient time. Or yeah. And you should be not tired. And just do it as a like a drag. Yeah? It becomes like a drag. We have to be alert when we are chanting. If you are tired, sleep some and then get up and chant. Not somehow half sleeping and half chanting and like that. Of course, if you are chanting all the time, then it's okay. But we want to chant. Like Mahatma Prabhu was here, he was saying, whenever I chant nicely. That's my japa. Whenever I do it nicely. So that will become a habit. That whenever you chant nicely. Of course, we chant other times, but whenever I'm chanting on my beads, then I'm chanting nicely. So that becomes like a rule, or it becomes like a, yeah. It's That's why one devotee was saying, at the end it says, it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Why it is not one of the 10 main offenses? Because it is understood that when you chant, you are going to chant attentively. That's why at the end we say it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Why it is not stated as one of the 10 offenses? So one devotee was saying like that it is understood that when you are chanting attentively, putting your heart into it. So, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this is the mother of all offenses, right? So,
Yeah. Mm. That's right. All the other offenses are due to this offense.
correct. So, because when you don't chant nicely, then what will happen? Your faith in chanting will go down. Alright? They are saying chanting will have this and this effect and this effect. I am not experiencing any effect. So that's what happens. And when you chant badly, it becomes like a practice also. So then practice becomes like a habit. Then it's very difficult to overcome. And then after some time, you think like, yeah, this is not working. So,
And all the 10 offenses are things that you do when you're not chanting.
correct. And then, yeah, because you're not blaspheming the devotees when you're chanting. You're not doing sinful activities, hopefully, when you are chanting. You are not, uh, what else? You're not saying something about demigods. Others are mental also to consider chanting of Hare Krishna as imagination. So that can also be there in your consciousness. You may be thinking, yeah. But sinful activities we can also be doing in the mind. So what is this? Mindfulness. Whatever catches our attention catches us. Whatever catches our attention catches us. Yeah. So Whatever we are interested in, that is where our attention will be. Whatever catches our edge, it will catch you. Like
Mm.
Ajamil was caught by that prostitute, right? So his attention was there.
Yeah,
So
Vaisheshika Maharaja has this saying, wherever the attention goes, energy flows.
correct.
We contemplate on things, we develop desires, and then we act in that
Correct.
direction.
And desires developed by contemplation, association. So more you do certain things, then more those things will influence you. Right? So more you drink, or more you. That's how we develop attachments. Right? More we hear about something, and the more we see some product being advertised. Advertisement works on this principle, right? The more you hear, then you develop an attachment for. And also it's with association. Everything. So attachment forms by association. Like husband and wife, now they're living together for so many days and years and months, and they're talking and talking, and so then naturally they have attachment. Then whoever you spend your time with and whatever you talk, that's where you develop your attachments. I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but just I'm saying this is the principle. So, so if you spend more time with Bhagavatam, then we'll develop an attachment for Bhagavatam. Of course, we may say Bhagavatam is not a person, like my wife or my child. But Bhagavatam is Krishna also in that way. It's Krishna talking to you because Bhagavatam is is Krishna's words. Okay, Vyasdev. Of course, all the scriptures are like that. But Krishna Swadhama, Krishna, what is that? Krishna Swadhama.
Krishna Swadhama Pagate Dharma Gyani Dvisa Kalau Nashta Drishamesha Puranarko Dhanurta.
Yeah, so this Bhagavatam is just like the sun. So we spend time with Bhagavatam, we spend time with holy name. Then we'll become more attached to that holy name. They're all conscious things actually. Nama Chintamani Krishnas. Chaitanya, it is Chaitanya, means it is not a dead thing. His holy name is a living Chaitanya, full of life. Krishna, it's Krishna himself. So Nama, so of course those who are very advanced they can realize this. So Nama Chintamani Krishna. So when you are associating with Krishna, you don't fall asleep. Will you fall asleep? If it's very exciting for you, right? So you don't fall asleep. If you are watching a cricket match and it's very exciting, then you don't fall asleep. Or a movie like that because it has caught your attention. Or in an exam, you don't fall asleep generally because it's so important. It's caught your attention. So this is also Krishna in the form of the sound vibration. So we don't, of course, the great souls they are very attached like that. So they don't even get distracted because they have a lot of attachment. Like who was that in Ramanujacharya's Leela? There was one this person. He was so attached to this lady. It was there was a procession of Ranganath or some deity like that going on, and this person was constantly looking at the eyes of this girl. I don't know what name.
Dhanurta.
The Murdas. So he was constantly absorbed in looking at her, and people were seeing this. What is this? The Lord is moving, and his attention is focused on this lady. And then Ramanujacharya called him and he said, I'll show you something more beautiful. Come. Like that, then he showed him the beautiful eyes of the Lord and like that. So, anyway, so without the protection of an all merciful Vaishnava, the conditioned soul cannot get out of the clutches of Maya. Like I was hearing a class on Nityanand Prabhu. That day we were reading, right, in the morning. that how Nityan Prabhu was the life and soul of Hadai Pandit and Padmavati. So they were constantly, their eyes were like watching Nitai. Of course, is the supreme personality of Godhead, but they were like the parents are always looking where the child is, what the child is doing. Attention is always because they love their child, so they don't want their child to. So without the protection of an all merciful Vaishnava, the conditioned soul cannot get out of the clutches of Maya. So we should be very attentive in with Krishna. Attention to detail is a sign of love. We say like that. Attention is where the seeds of love are there. So attention. So whenever mind goes somewhere, bring it back. Go somewhere, bring it back. So if we can put attention on Krishna, that's the perfection. Right? And take it from all other things and put attention on Krishna, Krishna's service, like that. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Manashashtani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. The living entity begins material life with his mind and the five knowledge acquiring senses. And with this, he struggles for existence within the material world. Yeah, so with our Jnana Indriyas, we begin our life. Like in the womb, the eyes, ears, and the tongue, all these things develop. And with this, he struggles for existence within this material world. These senses are compared to rogues and thieves within the forest because they plunder, they demand so many things. Eyes want this, tongue wants that, ears want this. They are plundering us and making us work very hard for this sense gratification. They're bad masters. Like rogues and thieves will loot everything that you have. You have earned with so much hard work, and they just want it in a moment. When there is a robbery, right? A person may have started his business and done so much hard work to get all the diamonds, and sometime back in California, there some jeweler's shop was looted, by masked people who came. So he must have done so much hard work and get gotten all this together. In few moments, it was all gone. So this is also our senses can plunder us. All that we have nurtured and cultivated for so many years can all be plundered away. Of course, devotion to God, whatever you've done, is not lost. It can be frozen for some time. But yeah, so in this way, they can plunder us. They plunder our consciousness, and all our love for Krishna is plundered, which is the wealth of the devotee. The wealth of the jiva is his attachment to God. That all can be taken away by all this, the rogues, the senses. They take away a man's knowledge and place him in a network of nations. Like Krishna says, Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nitya verina kamurupena kontya dushpurena nalinacha. It covers the knowledge. It bewilders him. Vimohati esha, right? Where is this lust? Indriyani, what is it? Indrebhya paramanaha. No.
Manasist parabuddhiya
Yeah.
buddhi.
But that is the, yeah, but there is another verse which says,
Yeah.
where is this lust sitting? Where are the headquarters?
Yeah. Senses, mind, and intelligence are the sitting
Sitting
places.
places of lust. How does it start? Asyadhisthana muchyate. Right? Sitting.
Indriyani
Indriyani
manobuddhi,
manobuddhi
Indriyani
asyaadhisthanamuchyate.
Muchyate.
Itev
etedi
mohtena
mohite
Vimohati
jnana
esha.
manu.
apritadehi.
Jnana vijnana nashanam. Yeah,
Jnana
it really,
apritadehi.
Jnana
Jnana
avritam
avritya
dehina.
dehinam. There is another verse, Jnana vijnana nashanam. Right? Yeah. So it is the destroyer of Gyan and Vigyan. So it vimohati, it bewilders the jiva and places him in a network of illusion. Like that. So we are in this matrix, right? This illusory matrix. So and we are very far away from actual situation. We have been dreaming so deeply, dreaming in about so many identities and all these things. Thus, the senses are like rogues and thieves that plunder his spiritual knowledge. Over and above this, there are family members, wife, and children who are exactly like ferocious animals in the forest. The business of such ferocious animals is to eat a man's flesh. So that the thieves they loot the person, and then the animals they bite. In the forest, there are animals they also eat the flesh. Of course, it's his wife, children like that, but it can be anybody who is like biting us, right, and causing us distress. The living entity allows himself to be attacked by jackals and foxes, wife and children, and thus his real spiritual life is finished. Everyone, and he works very hard, but everything is taken away. So he has become such a fool that he cannot see that. Like Prabhupada gave the example of the sparrows, right? They were trying to build a nest, and every time Prabhupada was saying they are chirping too much, it's disturbing me. Can we remove the nest? So they were removing. The nest was being removed, and again they were coming and putting it. And they could not see that there was a man who was trying to baffle their plans just right next to them. Similarly, Maya is baffling everybody's plans, but we cannot see. Pashyanapina pashyati. You cannot see because you're blind. Pashyanapina pashyati. So we are seeing everybody suffering in this material world, everybody is dying and going to the abode of Yamaraj. But we are in such a illusion. We are thinking, yes, my situation will be different. Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti yamalayam seshastvaram icchanti kim ashcharya taparam. This is one of the Ashcharya verses, right? Everybody is dying and seeing we are not seeing. So many people, our relatives and our friends, and so many people have died before our eyes, and how they were at their last moment, and how they did not take anything. But we don't get it. So seeing Pashyan, apina pashyati, na pashyati. Because of the strong desire to enjoy. So that is there. That's why we don't see it. So, like that. The result is that the living entity in the material world is always plundered. Everyone in this material world, okay, I missed one sentence. In the forest of material life, everyone is envious, like mosquitoes and rats and mice are always creating disturbance. Everyone in the material world is placed in many awkward positions and surrounded by envious people and disturbing animals. The result is that the living entity in the material world is always plundered and bitten by many living entities. Nonetheless, despite this disturbance, he does not want to give up his family life and he continues his fruitive activities in an attempt to become happy in the future. He thus becomes more and more entangled in the results of karma and thus is forced to act impiously. His witnesses are the sun during the day and the moon during the night. The demigods also witness, but the conditioned soul thinks that his attempts at sense gratification are not being witnessed by anyone. And ultimately, super soul is watching. Sometimes, when it's detected, he temporarily renounces everything, but due to his great attachment for the body, his renunciation is given up before he can attain perfection. Yeah, sometimes he becomes embarrassed and he gives it up. Then again, he engages in bhog and then tyag, then bhog, then tyag. Like that. It goes on bhog tyag, bhog tyag. His renunciation is not steady, it goes up and down. He temporarily thinks, yeah, this is no use, all these things. This is smashan vairagya, right? It's no use, all these things. Ultimately, the body goes into the furnace and gets burnt up. But then he comes back home after a few days. He forgets and again starts enjoying till another event happens like that. And then he says, yes, yes, life is so like this, like that. And then again he forgets and then again he enjoys like that. So it is bhog and tyag going on, bhog and tyag, bhog tyag, bhog tyag. So we want to be consistent in our consciousness. We don't want all these roller coaster rides in our consciousness, like sometimes going up and sometimes going down, then going up, going down. So we have to remain steady in our consciousness. And for to remain steady, we should always remember the instructions of Bhagavatam and like that, and take it deep inside our heart. And as if I would have died yesterday, but if you would have died yesterday, let's say, Would we worry about anything today? No, because but because I didn't die, so we should think like that. That I have died yesterday. This is a new life. This today is my new life. This new life is only for God's service. That's it. Because if I would have died yesterday, I would not be doing any material things that I would be doing today, right? Of course, we may say it's impractical to live like that, but in our consciousness, we should think like that. It's a new beginning. Now, forget everything. What has happened? All that is past. Now it's a new chapter, new life. Like that, every day can be a new commitment to the Lord. And it can be every hour, it can be every minute. So, so in that way, we can remain inspired, right? So from this point on, right, let me become fully Krishna conscious. Krishna will save me if I surrender to Him. With that faith, we can try again. So like that. So sometimes when it's detected, he temporarily renounces everything. But due to his great attachment for the body, his renunciation is given up before he can end. Because he is not getting higher taste. That's the basically that's the crux of the whole thing. Because we ultimately are looking for enjoyment. And as long as we don't get enjoyment, we may say it is bad, but we can't give it up because that is where our enjoyment lies. So in this material world, there are many envious people. There is the tax exacting government, which is compared to an owl, and there are invisible crickets that create unbearable sounds. This is the whole summary of the chapter. The conditioned soul is certainly greatly harassed by the agents of material nature, but his intelligence is lost due to undesirable association. Yes, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "Who is a Vaishnava? Asatsanga tyaga hi Vaishnavachar." One who gives up the association of the non Sri Sangi, what does it say? Krishna Bhakta
एक
Eka
स्त्री
Asadhuva.
संग या स्त्री संगी एक साधु कृष्ण भक्तार.
Bhaktar. Eka Sadhu Krishna Bhakta. So that is how, when we give up the association of those who are interested in sense gratification, then, yeah, otherwise our intelligence will be lost because they will say so many things and they are envious in nature. They will pass so many remarks and so many things. They will say, "Oh, ISKCON is not like this. ISKCON is bad. This person is like this and that person." And then our like mantra, our mind also gets bewildered, and intelligence is lost. They are themselves not pursuing self-realization, and when we hear from them, when we keep their opinion, when we hear, then all our because if they were doing self-realization and they were engaged in Krishna consciousness, they would be inspiring us also. But they are not doing, and they are saying negative things, and that affects our consciousness, and then we give it up. So intelligence is lost due to undesirable association. Yeah, that is association. You have to choose your association because association forms desires. In Satya Yuga, it was very easy because everybody was spiritually conscious. Everybody, when they will meet, they will talk about spirituality and you know, how is your business of getting free from the cycle of birth and death going on? Are you becoming free from sense gratification? Are you developing attachment for Krishna? How is your consciousness like? So they'll be discussing this. Nowadays, we don't discuss all these things. We discuss how to make this material situation nice and better, and what can I do, and this and that. What business should I start, and what career I should opt for, and how I can. So that's like that. Culture is like that. So we get carried away by that culture. So, in an attempt to gain relief from the disturbances of material existence, he falls victim to so called yogis, sadhus, and incarnations who can display some magic. But who do not understand devotion. So everybody wants everything very cheap, right? So they just go to some sadhus who say you don't have to do really any effort, you know. You just do this. You don't have to rise early in the morning. You don't have to chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds. This is all no. Just do this one mantra one time. That's it. So there is no like, you don't have to follow the regulative principles. This is too much to control your senses. Just so we find that because we want to be like, we want to take shortcut. So there is no shortcut. If you say, make me a doctor in 1 month, I want to become a doctor in 1 month. Somebody says, yes, yes, you join my institution, I'll make you a doctor in 1 month. It's bogus, right? How can you become a doctor in 1 month? So similarly, of course, there is in our Krishna consciousness also there is kripa, but that's not the way generally it works. We have to put in our effort. For our material life, we put in so much effort. So, purushartha, the pancham purushartha is to obtain prema. That's prem for the prema pumartho mahan. Right? That's the
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
yeah.
So regarding shortcut, so now we see many people, yeah, even devotees who go to Kumbh Mela, right? So I know the Kumbh Mela. I was reading there is benefit like when you take a bath at Triveni Sangam, your
Yeah,
what is this? Your all sins get washed off, right?
yeah,
So is this is an example of shortcut, Prabhu?
yeah. Like we say, chanting Hare Krishna also wipes your sins. What is that verse? Stobanam helanam eva sanketi. How does it start?
Sankhyam Paryasyam Sthobanam
Stobanam
Hilinayam
helanam eva
Ashishaga Vaikuntha Nam Grahanam.
Vaikunta Namagar, Ashesha Agham Haram Vidu. Even if you chant Hare Krishna, even jokingly like that, your so much sins will be wiped. Ashesha. Ashesh means unlimited sins are wiped out. There's a verse in the Bhagavad. So yeah, by circumambulating Tulsi, we say Yani Kani Chapa Pani Brahma. Yesterday we were discussing this, right, in the evening, yeah. That these things will happen, yeah. But if you want Krishna Prem and we want to go back home, back to Godhead, sins may be destroyed, but the goal is not to destroy sins. The goal is to get Krishna Prem. And when you have Krishna Prem, then you will go back to the spiritual world. Otherwise, sins will be destroyed, but the consciousness will not become pure. And then still again you will do more sins. Right? So that is there. So we have to accept the process that is given by the acharyas on a daily basis. So that will change our consciousness. We may, these are all good, right? Every day we do Tulsi Puja, we do this, we that, whatever we do. It is meant to change our consciousness and we have to do it repeatedly. So in the Kumbh Mela, yeah, you go. Yesterday, Keshav Maharaj was saying that somebody asked this question, why do devotees also go to Kumbh Mela? He says devotees go to Kumbh Mela to preach because there are 300 million people gathered there. So they want to do Harinam and give the holy name of Krishna. Prabhupada also went to Kumbh Mela, but they were distributing books and things like that. They want to give the actual thing, not a hodgepodge like this, where so many people come. That is actually the purpose of it. Has also become like, everybody's going, so I should also go. Like that's also there. Sometimes it becomes like that. But does it make everybody spiritual? Those who take bath, no, they get spiritual benefit. But does their consciousness change that they make Krishna consciousness the goal of their life? Not necessarily, right? We have to take repeatedly. We have to do this repeated chanting and we have repeated all these spiritual activities. And Bhagavatam says if you go to holy place only to take a bath but not to hear from the self-realized persons there, then you are like a cow or ass. Of course, this is different because this is Ganga and this is. But main thing is to hear from the sadhus who have come at Kumbh Mela. Like Prabhupada was giving association. He was having a pandal program at Kumbh Mela, or he was. So main thing is to hear. That will change the consciousness more than anything else. Like Prabhupada said, Krishna did not touch Arjun just on his head, and he got all the knowledge. No, Arjun was asking questions, and Krishna was answering them, and he was hearing those answers, and Krishna was explaining to him, and then that's when you hear. That's what changes your consciousness. That also doesn't change immediately. So we have to hear repeatedly every day. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So that's how It is. So that is all these things are there. Yes, it has. It is like, yeah, circumambulating tulsi also frees you from all papa. Chanting the holy name. If you clap in front of the deities when the arti is going on, all the birds of sinful reaction fly away. In Nectar of Devotion, it says like. So there are so many things like that. If you do this, if in Kartik, if you offer one lamp to Damodar, then millions of sins of many lifetimes are destroyed. So it's Kumbh Mela is like that also. Like you go to Kumbh Mela and then sometimes Narottam Das Thakur says, "Oh, you don't have to take so much trouble going on. You can get the same benefit." Prabhupada writes in one purport. You don't have to take so much trouble. Go to Kumbh Mela, find a place to stay with all these people. There can be a stampede and all these things. You can get the same benefit in your home chanting Hare Krishna. One purport Prabhupada writes like that. One can get the benefit only after reaching the holy place and with so much endeavor and effort. But you can get the same benefit in your home. But we think that, yeah, this Hare Krishna, no, I have to take that, I have to go through that, all these things, then only I will get the benefit. That also we can think like that. But of course, devotees go, they were distributing prasad and probably distributing books. Like how many? Gautam, who's the Adani group. He had sponsored like so many Bhagavad Gitas for distribution. So a lot of people coming there, they are distributing books. So real thing is knowledge. Knowledge, because if you have knowledge, and when you take that knowledge in your heart, then you can actually change your consciousness and you apply it in your life. That changes the consciousness. So So first we have to have knowledge, and then the second thing is then we have to apply that knowledge to get the benefit, to get realization. We have to apply that knowledge in our life. Then we will get realization. Otherwise, no, it becomes like theory. But of course, we have to hear again and again so that our inspiration remains strong. So yeah, short. We want shortcut. So of course, whatever we do, Krishna says, even if one time you offered a lamb to, we say, if one time, if you offered a lamb to Damodar in the month of Kartik, Krishna will remember that, right? So that is there also. Sometimes the conditioned soul is bereft of all money, and consequently he becomes unkind to his family members. Yeah, he takes out all his anger on family members because he doesn't have money to support them. Sometimes we hear they killed the family members and he killed himself also because he cannot support his family. So that's also happens. In this material world, there is not a pinch of actual happiness for which the conditioned soul is longing life after life. Prabhupada made a blanket statement again. In this material world, there is not a pinch of. So we have to be convinced like that. There is no happiness here, actual happiness. No matter what I do, for which the conditioned soul is longing life after life. The government officials are like carnivorous rakshasas who accept heavy taxes for the maintenance of the government. The hard-working conditioned soul is very saddened due to these heavy taxes. The path of fruitive activities leads to difficult mountains, and sometimes the conditioned soul wants to cross these mountains, but he is never successful. Yeah, you have to work very, very hard to establish a career. You have to slog very, very hard. Because we want to set up our material establishment in this world. So you have to work very, very. Manashashtani Indrani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Of course, if you have good karma, you don't have to work very hard. But yeah, so that's an advantage. If you have the favor of Krishna, Krishna says they are born into aristocratic families, so they don't have to work, struggle to make a career and all this. Of course, people start liking it. They start liking the struggle because if you do anything for a period of time, then you start liking it. Something you do repeatedly, then you start liking it. You start drinking, and then you start like to drink it. You start smoking, and you do repeatedly, you start liking it. So, if you spend all the time in your corporate environment, 8, 10 hours, then you start liking it after some time. So next life again you come back into the corporate environment and again work. So like that. Of course, it can be done for Krishna. So that is but he's never successful, and consequently he becomes more and more aggrieved and disappointed. Becoming materially and financially embarrassed, the conditioned soul unnecessarily chastises his family. Yeah, he takes out his anger on the family. In the material conditions, there are four principal needs, out of which sleep is compared to a python. So it's good all of you are still there, despite all the heavy stuff we are reading. Because nobody likes to hear all these things because it is a direct attack on our false ego. Right? All these things we are trying to do, it is a direct. If we really take this knowledge, yeah, we may think, what is this? What am I doing? When asleep, the conditioned soul completely forgets his real existence, and in sleep, he does not feel the tribulations of material life. Yeah, so one way is to drink and sleep. When you drink, then you forget. That's why people drink in misery, to drink, to forget. Sometimes, being in need of money, the conditioned soul steals and cheats, although he may apparently be associated with devotees for spiritual advancement. His only business is getting out of the clutches of Maya, but due to improper guidance, he becomes more and more entangled in material dealings. So, although he is in association with devotees, he becomes entangled because he has a need, improper guidance. The material world is simply an embarrassment and is composed of tribulations presented as happiness. Each sentence of Prabhupada is like it goes right as a spear into our heart. This material world is simply an embarrassment and is composed of tribulations presented as happiness, distress, attachment, enmity, and envy. So it is a big embarrassment for the soul to become diseased, to become helpless, and to die. It's a big embarrassment. And other embarrassments, insults, and all the. And is composed of tribulations. And people think these tribulations are happiness. Oh, he's working very, very hard. This is good, yeah. Let us give him a medal. And we take the pride in that medal and put it on our. Oh, I worked very hard. See, I got this certificate. Now I am Java certified, and I am this certified, I am Salesforce certified, and people build up their certifications. Of course, it can be done for Krishna. That's because you want to have a nice career, you can use your money in Krishna. But it should not come at the cost of, association with devotees, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, chanting the holy name. So, because any moment we can die. Right? Then we are trying to establish. So many people have died, right? Trying to establish a nice material situation. They couldn't establish. Before that, only they died. So this material world is simply an embarrassment and is composed of tribulations presented as happiness, distress, attachment, enmity, and envy. On the whole, it is simply full of tribulation and misery. This Acharya is writing. This is when a person loses intelligence due to attachment to wife and sex, his entire consciousness becomes polluted. He thus only thinks of the association of women. The time factor, because that is on his mind. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami when he wanted to come and join him, he said, no, no, just as a married man is attached to, or married woman is attached to another paramour. So we can think of Krishna while we are doing our activities. If we are attached, if there is some anxiety for you, you always think of that anxiety, right? That anxiety is on your mind, no matter what you are doing, right? We can identify with that. There is some anxiety in our mind. So same way, when we have love for Krishna, then we can think of Krishna while doing other things. So the time factor, which is like a serpent, takes away everyone's life, including that of Lord Brahma and the insignificant ant. So nobody has survived. Badrinaran Maharaj says, this is when I heard this. Nobody gets out of here alive. He said, that really struck me. Yeah, nobody gets out of here alive. Not Brahma, not the insignificant ant. Sometimes the conditioned soul tries to save himself from inexorable time and thus takes shelter of some bogus savior. Unfortunately, the bogus savior cannot even save himself. How then can he protect others? The bogus saviors do not care for bona fide knowledge received from the qualified Brahmanas and Vedic sources. Their only business is indulging in sex and recommending sexual freedom, even for widows. Like we have Raji. We don't not taking any names, but yeah, they are like monkeys in the forest. Srila Shukdev Goswami thus explains the material forest and its difficult path to Maharaj Parikshit. So they say, yeah, because if you want something cheap, and then somebody says, yeah, you just chant this mantra. You can do it whatever you like. You can do whatever you like. It doesn't matter. You just chant this mantra and you are saved. So we want that kind of thing. So that's why we get such gurus who will say, "You take everything cheaply," and yeah, so and they tell, yeah, you can go on. Eating has nothing to do with spiritual life. You can eat whatever you like. You can do whatever you like. It has nothing to do. And because we are inclined to do those things, we feel happy also in their association, right? Because they are furthering our material. There is justification for my material desires. So they make us feel good because they want followers and they want money. So they make us feel good about ourselves. Because then I will give donate. Because if they make us feel good, then they will get followers, they'll get money. So the business of guru is not to just make you feel good about yourself. He encourages you, but he also gives you the path. So that is a real, not just some just verbal, like some, and we become satisfied by this. No, not that. He really, really wants to change your consciousness to save you. Like Vidur was real sadhu when he spoke to Dhritarashtra very harshly. He was telling, Bhagavatam is also speaking very harshly. So, sadhu means one who cuts the bondage to the illusory energy. So that is a real sadhu. One who furthers your entanglement in the illusory energy, that is not a sadhu. But one wants like that. So they go to a person like that who will be very lenient and very not strict, and that person himself doesn't know the goal of life. And so we like that kind of people who are very, then we think, oh, they are very compassionate, but it's not compassionate. They are not giving you the right thing by which you will be saved. So to get a false thing and feel happy about it, it's bad. It's better to get the real thing and be distressed, be sad about it that I can't follow it. That's so I will try to follow it, right? Then to get the wrong thing and feel justify ourselves and feel very happy about it. So so that Prabhupada spoke very like very, his lectures are very sharp and cutting, and his books also, this purports and like that. So it changes the consciousness. Right? Those who are genuine will come. Those who want cheap, then they will go to other places. Okay, so it's almost 8:55. Does anybody like to say anything? This is just the trailer. Now the real things will come in the translation. Okay, so it'll be, we are thinking the more we become attached in this material world, the more my life will become happier. But actually, it's just the opposite. The more I become detached from the material world and sense gratification, the more I'll experience peace and connection to Krishna, which will give me real happiness. We are thinking when things will work out and things will be, then I'll become more happy. But actually, it is just the opposite. So Maya has made us a fool, made a fool out of us into thinking something that will only give us trouble, but we think it is going to give me happiness. So, so that is how it is. And if it gives you happiness, it is illusory happiness. So, and we are running after this illusory happiness. Like Prahlad Maharaj says, Kutra Shisha Shuti Shukha Mrigatrishni Rupa. Mrigatrishni. It is like a mirage you are running. And while you're running, you are chasing, you feel very happy. Oh, I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. It's just a little bit far, just a little bit far. I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. And then you keep running, 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 and one day you die. So like that. It's our life. Material life is like that. So ideally drop
In
everything and just engage in Krishna's service. Yeah, that's the go ahead.
One
Prabhuji,
time,
oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just sharing one thing. Yesterday, I was watching some video and I saw one girl. She was dancing on the floor. She went to the wedding and she was dancing. Suddenly, she got a heart attack and she passed away, Prabhuji. So you see, the
Yeah,
life is very uncertain, and I don't know what will happen with that soul, Prabhuji.
and also Komal's father passed away in Pakistan recently. So yesterday she
Komal?
texted Komal, who used to join our call.
Votwani.
Oh,
Not
She's a
Komal,
doctor.
not the Komal
okay.
here. Yeah, there is another one who used to join our call. She used to live in Columbus. So she asked for prayers for her father. I don't know what the situation was, but yeah, it suddenly happened. Suddenly you like in one night you're gone, right? My mama also, right? Suddenly passed away. And last year only he had come to see my mother, my mother's brother, So he had come, and 1 year he didn't know. In 1 year he is going to pass away. So life is very uncertain. Of course, they are in their 70s, but yeah, so life is very short. It's like only few more if we live 70, if we live up to that. You were saying this girl
Right.
was
But
very
that
young.
she was so young, Prabhuji. I think maybe
Uh,
20 or 25, or maybe less than that, but it was
yeah,
so
in our
strange.
community only we have devotees who passed away. They were young. But
Mm.
again, pashyanapi na pashyati, right? We see but we don't see. So in our community we have had such people also, and there are others also who are. We know somebody who's in a serious health situation. They're only 35, 36. So yeah, it's like that anytime. Well, it's a time bomb, right? When it explodes. Recently, yesterday I was reading the news, right? On the border, some they blew up an IED, explosive device, and few Jawans lost their life. They were just patrolling the border, and those terrorists they blew up the thing. They never had any idea that they will not be seeing another sunrise. So this is material world. It's a dangerous place. Accidents can happen. So many things can happen. So so we have to do. So it can happen to us also. But uh, while we are in good situation, then we should another day Krishna has given us. So let us do more bhakti, more hearing, chanting like that, and our job also because we have to maintain ourselves. But yeah, don't get sidetracked. So like that, when we keep death in front, then only like if somebody were to tell you you have only one more year to live, right? Then would you think about so many things that you are thinking now? No, you won't be thinking. But we think, no, I have another 20 years to live, so I should do this, that. But if we think like that, then only we can make spiritual advancement. So that is the, of course, to think like that is not so easy because mind becomes complacent and like that after some time. Mind tells us, "Arey, why are you thinking something that is not true? You know, yeah, you are going to live. Like one devotee, right, when he heard that he got cancer, he came and he was doing very, very, like he has very less time to live, and then he was doing so much nicely. And then they found out that, well, it was a wrong diagnosis. It actually is not. Then became slack again. Right? So, like that. Then, so that urgency was there, was lost. As soon as you hear that, it's not going to be in my situation. So, like that. Anyway, so we have to. I am saying all these things, but it applies to me also. so, so we have to like somehow build up that urgency. The time is very short. Okay, so we'll stop here 9 o'clock. Hare Krishna, everyone.